You've worked hard to build a dream retirement. Now it's time to put that plan into action. This is Retire ATL with Aaron Vincent and Matt Decker. The team at Vincent Financial wants to help you build, protect, and grow income to get you to and through retirement. Now, Retire ATL with Aaron Vincent and Matt Decker.
This is the Retire ATL podcast, all powered by the Vincent Financial Group. You can get more when you visit retireatlradio.com. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for downloading. Now, let's get to the show. We are here with CFP and investment advisor Aaron Vincent alongside CFP Matthew Decker. My name is Mark Owens, talking about some of the big reasons why people are reaching out to you. And 2025 saw a lot of layoffs across the country. Amazon, UPS, just to name a few, some of the big tech companies. And there are a lot of people, Matt, that are worried that 2026, there could be a pink slip in their future. So one of the reasons that people could be reaching out right now is, what does my future hold for my job? Will I be changing jobs? Will I be losing my job? Yep. How do you respond to that?
We've had a lot of people reach out with job changes. It's all the things associated with approaching retirement. We've had people that have had job changes. We've had people that have had early terminations. We've had some people in the tech sector that are getting closer to retirement, and they come to us and they're like, frankly, I do not want to grind like this anymore. It's hard. You know, I'm competing against 25 and 30-year-old engineers that are just nose on the grindstone all day. And I'm going to have a grandkid next year. I don't want to grind like this anymore.
There's also been a lot of mergers and acquisitions,
yep.
Buyouts, and, such and such company bought my company. I do not want to work for them. What should I do? All that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So we've had a bunch of those conversations, really Q3 and into the start here of Q4. It's crazy to say that I know, right? Oh my gosh.
It's happening.
Mm-hmm. It's happening. I can't believe it.
So how does that conversation go? Like, for somebody that goes, I wasn't prepared for this. I thought I had a couple of more years left in me. I'll be honest, Matt, I don't have the time, effort, or energy to start a whole new career. Can I kind of pull the trigger on retirement?
Yeah, those have the potential to be the best and worst conversations, right? because you're not necessarily coming in as part of your plan. Mm-hmm. It was part of someone else's plan. But I'll tell you why they can be some of the best conversations. They can be some of the best conversations because oftentimes people are way closer to being able to retire than they even realize. They're way closer. Mm-hmm. Once we factor in, okay, how many years are on your mortgage? Oh, okay, 10, 15 years. All right. So after 10 or 15 years, a big expense drops off. They're like, oh, yeah, okay, that's true. And then, you don't have kids on the payroll anymore, maybe in 2 or 3 years. And so that changes your reality a little bit. And, right now you're taking home way less because you're maxing out your 401k. So actually, that's going to stop once you get into retirement. Yeah. And by the time we're done with that, and we show them also that their 401k is like littered with fees and not necessarily performing all that well relative to the risk that they might be taking or, relative to the fees that they're paying. That's an analysis that we offer everybody who comes through the door. And once we kind of get through things, it's like, you can make this work. Like this might have been a blessing. Mm-hmm. You weren't happy at your job anyway. Early termination came your way and we're like a year away from being able to retire with some easy part-time work. How does that sound? And they're like, that sounds incredible. Like, how soon can we make this happen? They can be harder conversations when you don't have enough, right? And then it's like, okay, well, we need like 3 or 4 more years or you're going to have to live on less.
And that's one of the first conversations that we have. So part of our process, like step 1, after we get through the get to know yous and take inventory and stuff like that, is we build a model based on your current portfolio. So assuming that you don't hire us, assuming that if we find some changes that we would make if we were your advisor to your current portfolio and investment strategy, let's not assume that we're going to go down all that. Let's just do a base case of where you're currently at. If you keep your investments as they are with what you saved, but you flip them into an income stream, how much money can your savings currently on the current track that you're on give you after taxes each month for the rest of your life? We stress test it for market conditions and inflation and interest rates and healthcare costs and all that.
And there's a reason we do that.
Yeah.
The reason we do it is because we know that our biggest competitor is not some big box firm down the street. It's not somebody else that you might be listening to on the radio. Our biggest competitor is actually you doing nothing.
Yep. Inertia.
Our biggest competitor is inertia and same old, same old. So we build the model assuming that our biggest competitor, you doing nothing, wins.
It's Procrastination Inc.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the truth is, most people don't have any idea what their portfolio actually equates to from a retirement income perspective. And understandably so. It's not taught in schools. The only thing that's ever been taught is the 4% withdrawal rule, which has been debunked 1,000 times over. If that's how you're calculating your retirement income, I'll just give you some free advice right now. It's probably not sufficient. So you need a better way.
Well, hold on. Back that up just a little bit. RetireATLradio.com, because we've talked about the 4% rule here on this show.
Oh, yeah.
And you've said it's been debunked because, again, growing up, always 4%, 4%. Why? Why is it not a good opportunity?
By definition of any math that's just that simple, leaves out so many factors that are actually really, really important. For example, taxes. So you're applying 4% withdrawal to your portfolio.
What if it's all taxable?
Right.
What if it's all tax-free?
If it's all 401k, it's 4% minus your taxes. If it's all Roth IRA, it's 4%. That's what you get to take home.
If it's all brokerage, it's all 1099 income. So
if you're in a 32% tax bracket, it's X. If you're in a 22% tax bracket, it's Y. So there's that. There's taxes. That's a huge one.
What about risk?
Huge one.
How much risk are you taking?
Yeah.
All my money's in cash. Okay, the 4% rule is not going to work for you because it only works if you earn a rate of return. What rate of return? Don't know.
So these are very, very important conversations that we need to build upon. And so we build a base case. Where are you right now? It also offers an unbiased, unemotional, just black and white math. This isn't our opinion. We're not judging you based on what you've done so far. This is just common. And it just is what it is. But it also gives a basis to compare to. Because what we have to build out is not just a plan that makes sense on paper, but you need to know how you're going to measure success based on what we're doing for you. How do you measure if working with the Vincent Financial Group is working for you year over year over year?
My returns.
If it's the returns on paper or if it's your account balance, let me just tell you, that's also a completely impossible way to do it. But we have to build a base case. We have to build something to compare to. So if you don't hire us, if you don't do anything at all, by the way, this is no cost to you. Here's what your portfolio can probably produce for you in an income stream for the rest of your life. Then we say, if you hired us, these are the 3 or 4 or 5 things we would change. And this is the end result of how that affects your income stream. Watch people's eyebrows raise.
Yeah.
Wow, you can make that much of a difference. Yes.
And one of the reasons we can make that big difference, again, we're talking about people coming to us through job change, early termination, maybe an early severance. One of the ways we can make a huge difference in their current trajectory versus a few tweaks here and there is when you have that job change, when you have that early termination or severance, you have access to your 401k. And 9 times out of 10, the investments inside your 401k are limited, expensive. You're not being compensated for the risk that you're taking or the fees that you're paying. And just by riding the ship on probably your largest asset can make a huge difference in the trajectory of your retirement.
If you've got $1 million in your 401k, just for round math, if all we do is optimize the taxability of that and make some changes to how your money's organized, I'm not talking about even improving the investments and getting lower volatility and greater returns, which is something that we really focus on, but not even applying anything of a better investment strategy. All we're doing is organizing how your future income is going to be taxed by just moving money around. Just that moves the needle way more than you probably can realize. And we'll show it to you. We've got a giant TV screen. We put it up there. We can look at it, talk at it. You can poke holes in it. My point is, if you're in this category, job change, mergers and acquisitions, buyout, you got the pink slip, you weren't expecting it, whatever it is, or you're just like, I got to know, what are my options? I've saved this much. I just had this meeting with my boss. I about walked out the door, but I didn't. Can I? Even if you're
go back in there and tell them where to put it.
Whatever it is, you've got a new access to probably your biggest asset, and you should know what that means. You should know what that means for your lifestyle and for your retirement, and most folks just simply don't.
I had a conversation last week with a family. They were going through a job change and now access to their 401k, and they had done a great job of not just funding the 401k, but the Roth portion specifically. So they had a Roth 401k. And we're going through, how we're going to improve their situation. And they were really concerned about safety. They're like knocking on the door of retirement. And they're like, man, all these options in the 401k, I chose the safest options, but I noticed they were super expensive. And I'm like, yep, they are super expensive. And then he goes, and they're not even performing. And I'm like, you're right. They're not. They're expensive and they're not performing. The worst of both worlds. Yes, we can make this better. And so we talked about how, and then we got to the Roth portion. And he's like, well, what are you going to do with the Roth dollars? And I said, we're going to make those Roth dollars as risky as we can possibly make them. And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. What do you mean? And so I walked him through and I'm like, well, in a perfect world, what dollars do we want to grow the most? Do we want our ordinary income taxable dollars, the traditional 401k? Mm-hmm. Do we want those dollars to grow the most?
I don't know.
Or do we want our tax-free dollars to grow the most?
Oh.
And he sat there and he's like, oh, yeah. I want the Roth dollars to grow the most. And I'm like, exactly. We want the Roth dollars to grow the most. So what we're going to do is we're going to take your IRA dollars, your 401k, 403b, SEP, Simple, TSP, whatever it is, we're going to take those dollars and we're going to make them safe because you're concerned about safety. And so if there's any money on the table here to be the safe money, it's those dollars. Yeah. Why? Because we don't necessarily want all of our growth showing up in the account where we made the handshake deal with the government and they're going to tax us at ordinary income rates at whatever the rates are when we take it out. He's like, right. I'm like, right. Okay. And so then your Roth dollars, you got quite a bit less. You did a great job, but you got quite a bit less in your Roth 401k. And he's like, you're right. And I'm like, so we're going to take as much risk as possible as we can with those dollars, and everything else is going to be safe. And hopefully we hit a home run and all of our growth shows up in the Roth. He's like, I get it. I never even thought about that. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yep, that's called asset placement. And now you know more than most financial advisors out there. And we got a good laugh out of that.
RetireATLRadio.com to have this conversation with Matthew Decker, Aaron Vincent, and the team at the Vincent Financial Group. Again, RetireATLRadio.com. I want to pull back and do the 10,000-foot view real quick. So we're heading into 2026. We hear the behind the scenes at work. We think there may be some layoffs. What's the first thing that we should do as adults if we think that's coming in 2026?
Take all the pens and pencils and paper you can.
Stock them on every supply. If it's not bolted down, take it with you.
Those reams of paper, take them.
Start doing all your printing at the office.
I think it's take inventory. So the first thing to do, rumors spread and it's easy to get kind of worried and fearful and defensive and all that. And maybe the rumors are true, maybe they're not, but you will feel better about the situation if you at least know what your situation is. So based on whatever savings you have and based on however old you are and based on how close you are to what you think retirement can look like, you should know what your options are. Maybe you already know, look, I may get laid off and I still got 10 years to go. Well, okay, that may be true, but you should at least know what your options are. And so,
Aaron, can I interrupt you?
Yeah, please.
I want to add on to that. If you've done a lot of your savings for retirement already and you're hearing the whispers, it's probably just our audience. You all are some impressive people. In the last several weeks, I've had 2 or 3 that heard the whispers, and they had already done the inventory with us. So they kind of knew I'm close. Like I can make this work. It's maybe not ideal, but I can make it work. And so they told me about the whispers, and I said, what you need to do is go in there and say, hey, can it be me? Can it be me? Like I hear the whispers, but like let it be me. And so
they want the buyout.
And so exactly. But see, it's like reverse psychology, because if you're the person that's like, hey, let me go, please. A lot of times the managers are like, no, anyone but you. I don't want you to go. What can I do to keep you? Actually, I don't want you to go because you're like, because if you feel that way, you're probably doing a ton of work. Mm-hmm. If you're burned out and you're like, let it be me, you're probably the workhorse. So if I'm in your shoes, I'm going in there and I'm saying, hey, I hear the whispers. What do I have to do to let that be me? And they might say, what do I have to do to keep you? What if you worked part-time and only took the accounts that you wanted? How would that? And it's, okay, fine, twist my arm.
You know what? The last thing I want is more money, boss.
Exactly.
The last thing I deserve.
We were 3 for 3. This is in the last month. 3 for 3. I tried to quit and they just wouldn't let me. They're having me on part-time. I'm only working from home. I'm only taking the accounts that I want. And I guess I can do that for another year or two.
Just make sure you're ready in case they call your bluff.
But take the inventory first. Take
the reams of paper.
RetireATLRadio.com to get your inventory.
Another category that we haven't talked about is we've had another influx of a different category of folks that are in sort of this conversation. That is people who are selling or have recently sold their business.
It's happening all the time.
Again, we've had several in the past few weeks. We might have had 2 in the past 2 years before that. And so I think this is another major one because you're coming, maybe it's not a 401k. I mean, it might be, but maybe your situation is selling a business. I've been used to earning this revenue or this income from my business. Now that's going to stop because I'm selling it and I'm going to have this pile of money instead. What should I do?
Yeah, you're switching from the cash flow model to the I've got a lump sum of dollars model. Those two worlds couldn't be farther apart.
Yeah, how you manage that is very, very important. And sometimes I want to preface and say we are not necessarily experts in this. I'm not a consultant for mergers and acquisitions by any means, but we've been around the block enough to maybe have some helpful questions to ask if you're in the middle of that process. And we've saved some folks lots of money on taxes just by saying, hey, what if you can structure it this way, your buyout or the sale of your business or whatever. So
we've helped people sell businesses that they didn't think were sellable.
Yeah.
Hey, what if you worked out a deal with your employees where like they continued to pay you, you sold them the business and they're like, I never even thought about that. We're like, yeah, I mean, instead of getting zero for your business, what if you got something? That could be better.
Yeah.
RetireATLRadio.com. Again, RetireATLRadio.com. From the homepage, you can meet the team from the Vincent Financial Group. You can schedule that meeting right at the very front of the homepage. Or if you're just catching up on this conversation, we invite you to stream the Retire ATL Radio Show. It's the podcast. You can hear it again, RetireATLRadio.com.
We were just talking about selling the business, Aaron, and it made me think of, you made the point, you're switching from cash flow kind of model where maybe you got a successful business, lots of cash flow, but you're not necessarily, doing a bunch of investing. Your business is the investment.
Yeah, you're reinvesting back in your business often.
And we understand that as business owners. But then you sell your business and now you have a lump sum pile of cash and it's like, okay, I don't have cash flow. Now I have a big asset. What do I do with it? And it made me think of another situation that's very similar to selling a business, although it may not feel like it, but it is. And that would be those of you that are in the death, divorce, or inheritance situation.
Yeah.
It's a similar vibe because in the form of, death or divorce, you may not be used to handling the finances. Like this may be the first time that you're having to actually handle the bulk of the finances. And it's a very similar situation to a business owner who sells his business. He's used to working in the business. Now he's not working or she's not working in the business. They just got a lump sum pile of cash and like, all right, well, where does this all need to go?
I wasn't the CFO on purpose.
Correct.
So now what do I do?
Exactly. So it might be helpful, what are the differences between the cash flow type model or maybe you're a spouse who's not used to handling the finances and you find yourself in a situation, maybe it's death, maybe it's divorce, where now you're having to handle the finances.
Right.
What are the things that people need to be looking out for? What are the reasons that it's a difficult transition to make?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, one of them is there are constantly changing laws and regulations. And so if you've recently gotten it, let me just use inheritance as an example because that's happening more and more. And that's wild. Did you guys know that the end of the year, the holidays, is like there's a spike in deaths?
Is it because of the cold or
I don't know
what's
it
the
is,
deal?
But and I don't know any stats, so someone can maybe fill us in. But the holidays are a very sad time for a lot of people because a lot of their loved ones passed away this time of year. It's wild. Anyway, my point is, if you're receiving an inheritance, the government, in all their wisdom, has made some recent rule changes that are going to impact what you have to do. So if you inherited, a parent's IRA, for example, maybe your dad died this year or last year and you inherited an IRA from him.
One of the worst things to inherit, actually.
Absolutely.
Now.
For sure. Well, what comes with that, and you may or may not know this, and if you don't know this and you have it and months are going by, you've got a big gotcha coming.
RetireATLRadio.com.
For sure. You may not know that you're actually forced to spend that IRA down if that's you in a certain period of time.
Over 10 years.
And if you don't, there's penalties on top of that. And so that's just one of a lot of things I can mention, Matt, like that you need to be aware of if you've received an inheritance. Now, in the reality of a divorce, whole nother story, but some of the same kind of dangers or things to be aware of. Maybe not, kind of IRAs and IRS, but certainly some pitfalls and some things to do it wrong that you'll pay the piper for later, the idiot tax, they call it.
Absolutely. It's tough to make the transition as well because a lot of times, look, if you're a business owner, you probably have like business advisors, right? Like you have people that you rely on for business advice, but that's not the same thing as an investment advisor. And if you're going through, a situation where there's, death or divorce, you may have an investment advisor, but it may not be the one that you chose. You may not like that investment. We hear that all the time. Like, yeah, I have a person, but they talk over my head. I wouldn't choose them again. My spouse chose them. And so,
or they're the same age I am.
Or they're the same age.
They're
They're retiring too.
I do, yeah.
That's right. And so it's Man, it's those transition periods are tough for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody likes a big upheaval in your life and a big period of transition. And I think one of the reasons is because you're kind of restarting the clock relationally in some areas where you have to, right? I mean, if you're head down, we had a guy who sold a bunch of self-storage units, sold them for like $13 million. I don't know if that's a lot or a little when it comes to self-storage units. I mean, it feels like a lot.
Just say
right?
a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of money unless there's a lot of debt with it. Yeah.
Right.
Feels like a lot. But he's like, man, he came to me and he's like, Matt, I don't know anything about finances. I'm like, what are you talking about? You got like $13 million. He's like, well, let me just tell you. I own self-storage and I worked at the self-storage. All I know is self-storage. Yeah. I got $13 million from selling my business, but I'm telling you, I don't know anything about finances.
I know how to make money.
Exactly.
But I don't know anything else.
Literally,
Exactly.
Unit 16B is where I store all that money right now.
That's right. And so, good on him for just kind of ripping the Band-Aid and saying like, look, man, I need help and I sold this thing and I'm having to start from zero relationally in an area where I'm weak. And that is a tough place to be. Starting from zero relationally in an area where you're weak. No one wants to go through that. And yet we all have to in all kinds of different areas of life.
Yep.
And the sooner we kick that can down the road, that's how you get hurt, right?
Yeah.
That's how bad things happen. You just take too long to take that action. And so if that's you, please take us up on our discovery call, retireatlradio.com.
Yes. Along with money, there's inherent emotional, it's a weight. Yeah. And then you add on top of that some kind of unexpected news, a divorce or a death or a job loss or whatever it is. And now it's like this almost unbearable, I don't even know where to start. So I'm just going to put it in cash in the bank and hope things work out. And I think you need to know that you've got an ally. There's not we're going to judge you because you don't know what to do. I think there's a lot of intimidation in our industry, whether it's probably deserved, or just assumed. But man, what a situation to be in. And then to have someone sitting across the table from you and kind of make you feel less than because you don't know what to do with your money. With us,
it's a good thing you're here now because you're an idiot.
Man,
that type of a vibe.
I can really save the day that you screwed up.
Yeah.
So
no one likes that.
By the way, according to the interwebs, more people die at the end of the year due to a combination of factors including emotional and physical stress from the holidays, colder weather, increased alcohol consumption, and delayed medical care.
Oh, there you go.
Go to the doctor, don't drink your alcohol, and stay warm at night.
All right, well, hold on. 2 of the 3 I'm up for. Okay, it is the holidays. I got to spend a lot of time with the family, all right? Let's flip the script. Let's make this a great time of the year with the help of the Vincent Financial Group. RetireATLRadio.com. From the homepage, you can meet the team, find the GPS of the home office, which is in Woodstock, Georgia, or multiple locations across Metro Atlanta to meet you at a time and a place that fits your schedule. Again, RetireATLRadio.com. That initial consultation, no cost, no obligation, from Aaron Vincent, Matthew Decker, and the team at the Vincent Financial Group.
Insurance products are offered through the Insurance Business Advanced Planning Group. Vincent Financial Group is an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Advanced Planning Group are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Advanced Planning Group and IPW are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be constructed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Vincent Financial Group is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained by sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Vincent Financial Group. This podcast is a paid placement.